Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Trevor. Very grateful to have you here, and today is going to be a recap of my weekly rotation here about the third week of October. So today's the 23rd, so we're rounding out right about, I think, the 16th or 17th up through the 22nd. Had a pretty eventful week last week. We're just gonna get started off with Monday. Reached for this bad boy right here, Rasasi La Yuqawam. Absolutely adore the presentation on this one for the autumn time. This autumn leaf and the black and orange kind of color scheme really is something that I just like looking at on my desk when it's my scent of the day. As far as the scent profile, this is a clone of Tom Ford's Tuscan Leather. Actually have not gotten my nose on the original, but this one is very high quality for the price. I think you can usually pick these up for around $60. A little bit of the upper echelon of the Middle Eastern price range. Not quite a cheapie, but still well worth it in my opinion. I actually got this as a tester. Sadly came with no cap, but I was able to pick this up for $39 when I got it. I think it was from Gift Express. But basically you get a similar scent profile to the Tom Ford Ombre Leather DNA. However, this has a very nice fruity raspberry quality to it that really kind of brightens it up a little bit more and makes it a little bit more fun, jovial, and to some extent a little bit more of like an everyday use, whereas like the Ombre Leather I feel is like kind of also an everyday kind of use fragrance, but a little bit more classy and upscale. This one is very well received, however, something that I really enjoyed wearing out on Monday. The good majority of the week this week we had some pretty good, nice sunny weather here in the autumn time. The leaves are starting to kind of change colors a little bit, and the way that the sun was kind of matching the golden hues was doing a very good job of matching this here little autumn leaf. And there was a few rainy days, I think, in the middle of the week, but started the week off on the right foot with this one right here, Rasasi La Yuqawam from Monday. Tuesday was feeling a little bit desirous of smelling this fragrance. It's newer to my collection, but I've definitely been itching to wear it. It's a little bit thick and resinous, so I'm kind of gearing towards wearing it more so in November, during the month of November. But as I said, I was really hankering for it, so I put this one on for Tuesday. This is Bel Ami Vetiver from Hermes. Hard to come by at the discounters. Usually the fragrances in this line and bottle type you can find for right around the $80 mark when they do hit discounters. This one in particular, however, I have not seen come up at the discounter, so I bought it full retail from Hermes. Runs about $170, but it's a absolutely stunning elemi resin fragrance. You do get some more classical notes in here. I think there's carnation and civet with a nice kind of almost buttery leather as well, and then the vetiver quality in here is a little bit more of like a textural feel. It doesn't quite give off like a soapy scent profile or anything, but mainly the elemi is what is the main player in this one. You also get some of the classical sort of autumnal spices like cardamom. Reminds me just of a Thanksgiving holiday during the daytime, at least. It's definitely something that just puts me in that mood for the autumn festive season, and it has such a high quality, classy air about it. Definitely, you know, you can tell it's an Hermes fragrance. Certainly something that I'm looking forward to wearing a lot more. But it was a great wear for Tuesday. I don't think I got a compliment on any of these fragrances this week. However, I've gotten compliments on some of them in the past, just not this week. But this one is a personal favorite of mine, and definitely is like my top 10 overall, in my top 10 overall for fall period, whether designer, niche, cheapie, Middle Eastern. This one is definitely making my fall for life list. Don't know if I'm gonna do a video like that, but this would have been in there. That's Bel Ami Vetiver for Tuesday from Hermes. Okay, Wednesday, I had two fragrances for Wednesday. I had one during the daytime when I was at home, kind of, I'd go into work at the PM on Wednesday. I usually work mornings all the rest of the week. So this is another one that I really adore. I was wearing it because I was kind of gearing up for a tag video that I tried 4 times unsuccessfully to shoot over the weekend, whether getting interrupted by my daughter or the neighbors. But this is one that I was going to put on there. It's a tag video on the theme of like me in a bottle, and this is one of the ones that I really identify with and would consider a signature scent if I were to not be a frag head and have so many. But this is Copal Azur from Aedes de Venustas, from my favorite perfumer, Bertrand Duchefort. This is a very unique fragrance, definitely kind of almost in a blue vein. The Azur kind of hints to that. It's you know, a word for blue. The Copal is a reference to a type of resin that is found in the South Americas, I believe. Kind of inspired by somebody doing a surfing trip. I think the owner of the brand was like out surfing on the coast in the South Americas and could smell this copal resin, which is kind of used in the same sense as like frankincense would be for religious purposes in the West. And actually frankincense is one of the main players in here, since copal can't be refined down into a extract. So Bertrand Duchefort, who's kind of like a master of using incense, used 3 different types of incense to create the copal scent profile. And then this also has a very nice ozonic salty opening that is like very magical, very cooling. This is a great autumn day and summer night fragrance, so it transitions perfectly in that aspect of the seasonality. But like I said, very unique ozonic salty opening, nothing I've smelt before. Definitely has that cooling the air effect that you kind of get from the juniper berry in Eau Givray to some extent. Only the temperature aspect of it, no similarity in scent profile. But then it just has this such a unique resinous frankincense incensey quality that puts me in a very nice medium ground between like prayer and meditation. It just has like a nice harmony between those 2 facets of spirituality for me. A nice middle ground between orthodoxy and mysticism is kind of like what I love about this fragrance. So that was my fragrance of the day for Wednesday. And then as I was gearing up to head into work for the evening time, I decided to grab something a little bit more rich, sweet, and mass appealing, and had to put this one on, a must wear for me in the autumn time. This is Givenchy Gentleman EDP Boise, and the Boise reference to wood. This is like a very nice woody, masculine, chocolatey iris fragrance. Definitely the most masculine iris fragrance I have in my collection. That wood gives it a nice rugged texture that I don't really get in any of my other iris fragrances, and also the most complimented iris fragrance in my collection. Definitely have gotten a lot of good compliments from complete strangers out from the customers that I deal with delivering food for the restaurant that I work at. None this week, but it has gotten me a lot from customers in the past. And like I said, just like a nice chocolatey, powdery cacao with an iris and then a rugged, woody texture. Definitely sophisticated and worthy of the title of gentleman. That is Wednesday's scent of the evening, Gentleman EDP Boise from Givenchy. Okay, so Thursday, kind of was feeling the blue itch. You know, I wore Copal Azur in the morning on Wednesday. This is another one that I've just been craving to put on and couldn't resist grabbing for it. This is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Definitely out of all of the flankers of this, in this line, the one most appropriate for the cooler weather. Just has a lot more of a ambery wood focus than the rest of them, and a like rich, dense quality. I think there's some lavender in here that you don't get in the other ones that gives it that sort of a little bit of like a deep, rich, sweet quality, and a lot more of a masculine edge, or like a sophisticated edge. Definitely just something I think is a must-have in any man's collection if you're 30 up. It's the most grown-up in the line, and I think the most well-constructed in terms of like quality or like sense of sophistication and richness. It's definitely like I think richness both in monetary value and like scent profile of like depth and kind of semi-sweet quality is a good way to describe this one. Easily or definitely, you know, it was an easy wear for me, and it's just like such a good scent profile and versatile for the cooler weather. And there's a reason you're probably seeing this one pop up a lot in lists as of late. It's well worth picking up, even though you can't really get Chanel at discounters. Joma Shop sometimes has them, but this one is, I think, a must-own for the autumn time. This is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Okay, Friday. Friday is, I like to try and wear niche fragrances on Friday. Fridays are sort of like my Sunday best, to some extent, my favorite day of the week. And I was also itching to wear this one. I haven't in a while. Again, from my favorite perfumer, Bertrand Duchaufour. This is Penhaligon's Sartorial. So this has a very nice sort of, like, it's an incredibly decadent lavender note in here. It just has like it's a very refined barbershop fragrance, and then it also has a like a steam accord, so it's got a very nice coming together of two elements of like hot and cold, and it's supposed to be replicating like a tailor's workshop. So this is like Middle English, like tailor's workshop, that, you know, you got that steam to iron quality going over and ironing the clothes in the workshop. So you have some like metallic facets in here as well. Very modern, but also classical at the same time. So it has a nice wedding of those two elements, and one of my favorite barbershop fragrances, and my, you know, it's definitely right up there with Creed Viking for my favorite for the autumn time. Highly recommend getting your nose on this one, and keep an eye out, because I think Penhaligon's does winter sales every so often. And I was able to scoop this one up for $95 even direct from their website during that winter sale. It was unboxed, so that was part of the markdown price. But otherwise, these usually run around the $170 mark when they hit discounters, and it's kind of rare to catch them at the discounters anymore. But keep your eye out for this one, and you know, maybe look and see if they're coming up on Facebook groups or something like that, because this is a stunning fragrance, and it even brought my friend to tears the first time he smelled this, because it was so transportative for him. So that is Penhaligon Sartorial for Friday. Okay, so Saturday, me and my wife both had off. We were able to get my daughter over to my parents to watch her. It was our anniversary is actually today on Monday, but we were celebrating on Saturday. During the daytime, I had a little bit of some errands to run. I got the Corolla fixed. There's a point in time where it was out of commission for a period of time. I thought it was completely done, but we got it back up and running. And then during the day on Saturday, I was getting some new tires put on it for the winter time, because they were getting a little bit bald and didn't want to run the risk of sliding around as the roads are getting prepared to get slick and icy heading up. So while I was doing a few of those errands, taking care of business per se, I was wearing Tom Ford's Oud Wood during the day on Saturday. Just a very classy, elegant, both dark and cold, but a little bit sweet fragrance. I think the Brazilian rosewood brings out a little bit of sweetness in here in terms of its woody qualities, and the oud kind of darkens it up. And then the overall composition gives off a very cold and cooling feeling, which is different from the clones that I've tried of this one, and one of the reasons why I prefer this over the clones that I've tried. Like Oud Noir has a little bit more of like a warm, spicy touch, whereas this one just has a cool, cold, and smooth quality to it that I really appreciate. And despite I think some other reviewers have said that the longevity isn't the greatest on this one, I still get about 7 hours, and I just bought this one you know, maybe a few months ago off of Aura Fragrance. I don't know quite exactly what the batch code or anything is that, or when it was produced, but still a really great fragrance. And if you haven't tried it, you know, definitely maybe get your nose on one of the clones or Versace Oud Noir, because it's a great DNA, and like the subtle nuance of it being slightly cold is like a very nitpicky kind of thing, and really not quite worth the extra $100 or so markup, I would say. But I'm very glad that I have it in my collection nonetheless, and it was a great wearing experience during the daytime. And then, so we got my daughter over to my parents for them to watch her while we went out for our anniversary dinner. We had a very nice, local restaurant here that has a very classical feel to it. You know, they'll bring in, they play like Sinatra in the background, and sometimes they'll bring in live music with like a band with like cellos and like orchestral kind of vibe with the live music and entertainment there. So it was a definitely classy evening for us, and it was a very well-welcomed bit of reprieve from raising our daughter. And my wife's pregnant right now as well, so she's kind of like been a little bit you know, drained per se. We've thank God got a son on the way, so it was just like a nice time to get a little bit of us time, and we came and watched a movie after. But the classy evening at a classy restaurant, I had to reach for this one. This is YSL's Tuxedo. Another fairly recent one to my collection. I've had Moustache from Rasasi for a while. I haven't tried any of the other Middle Easterns like the Tux or Suits. But this one I'm very grateful to have. It does have a certain sophistication that the mustache doesn't have, and then the grapefruit in mustache also gets a little bit sour in the opening on my skin. But this one, just absolutely classy, stunning, sophisticated, rich, deep, sweet, perfect for the occasion. Probably, I think my favorite wearing experience for this week, I mean, maybe right up there with Bel Ami Vetiver, but this was just a perfect kind of capstone to the evening for the dinner that night, and I just felt very, you know, like the man wearing it. I saw a couple of those tag videos going around as well. I might try to catch up on that, but like I said, you know, I was fighting, trying 4 times to do a video over the weekend, so I'm trying to pencil in what I can, where I can, but this was an absolutely great wear for the weekend. And honestly, despite being kind of hard to come by at discounters and pretty expensive at the retailers, I think this would be a great one to just find a nice like 10 ml decant for like a $30 to $40 range if you can on like Scent Split or something, and having that in your arsenal for special occasions over the autumn time. That is YSL's Tuxedo. Okay, and then Sunday, I had my daughter back again, just me and her. It was a little bit of a long day. She, I think, wasn't feeling the greatest, puked pretty profusely towards the end of the night, but during the earlier part of the day, we had a nice trip to the park. Me and her went and hung out over there on a very, absolutely stunningly beautiful afternoon. I might have some B-roll footage of our day out there. So we were out in nature, and this was my scent of the day on Sunday. This is Gucci Guilty Absolute, perfumed by Alberto Morillas. A little bit of a acquired taste, I would say. It's got a very medicinal kind of animalic, cracked brown leather vibe, and a little touch of sweetness from some patchouli to kind of round it out, and a stunningly welcomed cypress note that I love cypress, and it's like a perfect woody aspect to this fragrance as well, with a little bit of like a briskness I think adds to the medicinal quality. Some people say this smells like Band-Aids. I kind of agree, but it's done in a way that is very sophisticated, elegant, grown up, and stunningly beautiful and well done, well executed. Might have to make this my fragrance of the day today. Haven't put anything on yet, but was one of my favorite wearing experiences, right behind Tuxedo and Bel Ami Vetiver for the week. Came back after the park though, took a shower, and went and visited my wife at the restaurant later on in the evening, and decided to put this one on. Another one of my favorite iris fragrances. It definitely has that masculine edge with a nice oak note in here as well. I like it just as much as this one, but I think this one's a little bit more mass appealing, which is why I tend to recommend this one more often. But this one I think is cheaper at the discounters and very elegant, refined, classy, and grown up. This is Pour Homme de Caron Le Soir. This is kind of almost in the vein of Le Male Le Parfum, but it's got a little bit more of like a masculine edge with the oak note in here that gives it that woody textural feel. But the iconic Caron lavender is present in here that makes it similar to the Le Parfum, but I prefer this one to that fragrance. And yeah, this was just so stunning, smooth, excellent, refined, almost like, especially this time of the year, this is like kind of one of my vampire fragrance, or like, you know, in the autumn time, it just has that kind of very dark, in the name, like Soir, like of the night, quality to it, but still very refined and gentlemanly. So this was a perfect way to end off the week and wear to bed that evening in the night on Sunday. This is Caron Le Soir from the House of Caron. And that was my week in fragrance. Let me know what your rotation was in the comment section down below. I'll hopefully be able to get around to answering all of the comments in the previous videos here moving forward. I've just had my hands kind of full, and you know, hopefully I can get around to doing a lot more of these tag videos and some more content going forward. But really appreciate you sticking with me to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.